Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Good evening, my friends. Oh, oh, I'm on just went on right now. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Just a second. Hi there. Sorry about that. My mistake. You can hear me now, right? Okay. Sorry, my friends. This is Robert Sidell. This is the Gateway Show. It's a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. And the show is on every Sunday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. live. And it's simulcast also on Facebook. So for uh, wherever you are, you can listen on Facebook anywhere in the world. Plus, I also put the whole recording on YouTube afterwards as well. So if you want to listen later on, you can do that too. And the whole purpose of this show is to get for each of us what's the state of being, what's the place in awareness that can allow us to live a happier, better, higher quality of life. Doesn't that seem like that's sort of an obvious question, isn't it? The question's obvious. The answer may not be obvious, but isn't that something that we all really want to think about? Is there a way are we overlooking in our lives a possibility? Hello, Debbie. How you doing? Hello, Leroy. How are you doing today? Another miraculous day in this miraculous kingdom. Uh, so I want tonight. I really want to focus on something. I'm gonna put on a little bit of music here too. Hold on. Let's put. Hold on. Okay, I'll put a little bit of music on. If that's too loud, let me know, Owen. So, uh, so my friends, I really become so aware, so aware. Sounds good. Okay, good, good. Um, all of us are traveling through this world with kind of a standard default state of awareness. However, we get it, whether it's partly genetics, it's maybe the people we're surrounded by. It's every one of us has this sort of state of mind. It's a kind of our gut reaction to life. It's how we habitually respond to this creation called life. And if you go different places, all you have to do is look at people's faces and you can see what their instinctive reaction is. And so tonight, and what I've come to realize is that for a lot of us, maybe even all of us, that instinctive reaction is mostly unconscious. It isn't thought through. It's just purely an instinctive response to life. And that instinctive response to life is what's going to determine so much about how our lives turn out. And that's, excuse me, one second. And that, my friends, is really truly critical to the direction our life will take. And yet it's something that's so critical, and yet it's something so frequently not thought about. It's just sort of, like I say, inherited. How you doing today? Well, okay. Not so bad. Could be better. Whatever. And all those things could be maybe real things for us. But I'm not trying to say there aren't. But I just over and over again, it occurs to me as we walk through this earth, we human beings are wasting a huge, huge, huge opportunity. Hey, Janet, nice to see you on there. Opportunity. The opportunity is when you interact with another human being, you have a choice of how you respond. And it could be and the problem is we all get into habits. And not only are we in habits, but the world around us. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you too. The world around us sort of there's a certain setting or energetic level all around us. So it kind of makes us a little bit uncomfortable if we want to respond at a higher level, because it seems like we're going to seem strange. I'll give you an example. Every now and then I attend Tony Robbins seminars. And it's interesting because Tony Robbins seminars, which I'm going to one in October, as a matter of fact. When you show up at a Tony Robbins seminar, everybody's going, "Hey, how you doing? High five. Hey, how you doing? Fantastic. How you doing?" And there's 10,000 people there. So wherever you're going, these are people, mostly 99% of them, you don't know who they are. but they're all in this up mood. It's like somebody took this thermometer and raised the energy, the consciousness. And at first, when you first step into that milieu, how's that for a big word? There's a 25-cent word here. But for that environment, when you first step into that, it's kind of a weird feeling because it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? This isn't the way people normally act. These people are all happy and smiling and acting up. Well, here's my question for you. In life, wouldn't we all be better off the more we could live on that level than ordinary? How's it going? Yeah, okay. Which is going to take you to a higher place. And so, from my perception, without realizing it, we almost all have this habit formed. And like I said, I wish that I could tell you I'm always courageous enough to change the pattern around me. But I mean, I try to do it somewhat. A lot of times when people ask me how I'm doing, I like to say I'm expecting miracles. How about you? And you'd be surprised how often, and a lot of you see my little card. Hopefully I can see that on here. It says expect a miracle on it. Whoops. I love to give that card out, by the way. I just love it because people don't really know what it means. I think they're wondering, are we being recruited into some kind of a cult or something? And the short answer is no. All I'm doing is trying to put out an energy like, let's look for good in every moment. You know, all the great teachers, at least the ones I've studied, all said we have so much more potential than we realize. And it's like, if that's true, why aren't we using it? Don't we want the most out of life? Are we up for the possibility for something really magical and wonderful? So if you're listening to the show tonight, I invite you to, which you are obviously at this moment, or the recording later on. And by the way, as I mentioned, the show's on Facebook. It's on the number one talk station right now for those of you listening on radio. And it's also going to be on YouTube later on. Just type in Sidell and Gateway, Sidell Gateway, or Miracle and Gateway. Either way, you're going to get to it and you'll see that it's me, if you ever want to hear this at a later time. So the idea for me is life. I'll tell you where life starts to get fun. Life starts to get fun when you and I step into what's called the creative realm of life. The creative realm. The creative realm is not something that is based on logic. It's not something based on your feelings. It's not based on something that happened to you. All those things are good. We all have all that. Every one of us has a lot. We all have a story, right? We all have a history and a story. Every one of us. And we can all, by the way, we can all tell the story as a happy story or an unhappy story. Every human being can. If you focus on every disappointment in your life, you will be really down. If you focus on every up experience, you're going to feel like a winner. And that's true for every one of us. So the question, though, is this. What if you wanted to create a possibility that isn't even dependent that much on what's happened to you before? What if you wanted to, right now, tonight, take a step into the creative realm of your soul that's not even tied to any of that? I first studied with a teacher about 40 years ago. They introduced this one idea I'm talking to you about. That within each of us there is a part of us that is beyond our programming. It's beyond our stories. It's beyond what we normally call our history, whatever that history is. And that part that's beyond all of that, just for a second, we'll call it your creative self. And the creative self, you can literally experience and call forth new possibilities of awareness. Possibilities of awareness that don't have any particular precedent in action. In other words, you're saying, you know what? I want to have a new game in my life. I want something much better than ever before. Not just a little bit of better, not just changing it a little bit, and not just tinkering a little bit here, a little bit there. I want something that's really miraculous. I want something magical and wonderful. And what's interesting is, if you study, let's say if you study Christ's life, I personally accept him, if he talks a lot about the fact that whatsoever man can believe and ask for, it can be done. or will be done if they have faith and don't give it up. So that suggests to me, you and I have been given an extraordinary part of power within ourselves. My question is for you tonight, listening, is how are you using that power? Yes, Andy, my friend, saying expect miracles, a great state inducer, state awareness inducer. Yes, that's what I love about it, Andy. Expect a miracle. It sounds kind of almost simplistic. Oh, expect a miracle. What does that mean? But what it really means is that I just was with some of my extended family this weekend. I was telling some of the kids that were like, younger, and I have a couple of employees that are younger, like 17 and 18. I said, you want to get to the point where expecting miracles is part of your DNA. Can you get that idea a little bit? Imagine it's so deep within you that you start to perceive it as just your natural response to life. It starts to become encoded in you. How you doing? I'm expecting miracles. I don't know about you. And they might say, well, how come? Because I've been given the ability, the right to access the miracle working dimension within my consciousness. And the person might say, well, how do you know that? You say, the reason why I know it is because, well, first of all, lots of great teachers, including Jesus, said that it's true. If you want to have a gospel out of the Bible to direct yourself for some authority on that, look at Mark 11, 22 through 25. That's gospel. Book of Mark 11, 22 through 25. And he talks all about that. What you can believe without doubting with God could do anything. He even says you could have him move a mountain to the sea. So, I don't think any of us have any idea how far you can take it. But that's a pretty big idea that he threw on us, this young guy that lived 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So he challenged you and I. He said, and you know what else he said? And you can do greater things than me. All right, my friends, we're going to go to a break. I'll be back in just a second. Hi, Renee. It's always nice to see you. It's Robert Sidell. We're going to go to a break. I'm going to keep talking on Facebook, though. In fact, I'll turn the music down just a little bit here. So, my friends, here we are. We've been given a blank check in our consciousness. But the shame of it is, without realizing it, a lot of us are never realizing we get to write them out in the check. We get to decide what we want that check to be. We get to decide how far we want to take it. And that's what I'm just challenging each one of you to realize. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're 75, if you're 85. I know there's at least one person probably 85. There are people in their 80s listening to the show. In fact, there's a couple close to 90 listening to the show. And there's lots of people younger too. It doesn't matter how old you are. You and I are one with an infinite creative power of life. And it's up to us to have the courage to take a stand in that creative power. Question is, are you willing to do that? And it does take courage. It does take courage. But the way I look at it, it takes courage because you can look kind of stupid and silly to people. And, when you start to see life as a wonderful, miraculous experience, you can start to think, well, gosh, not everybody thinks that. Maybe I'm crazy. And what are people going to think about me if I start thinking life is miraculous and good and wonderful and can be better than I ever imagined? You might think, well, lots of people aren't going to agree with me. Some people think they're going to think I'm really stupid or wrong. And then what if I do turn out to be stupid and wrong? These are the kind of fears in our minds that can stop us from having the courage to take a stand in the divine realm of being within you. Those thoughts can cause us not to have the courage. They can cause us to want to play small. So my question for each of you tonight, are you playing small? How are you playing in your life? And by the way, it's a question for me too. It's not just for you, it's for me too. How am I playing small? And you know what? I'm sure I am playing small in a lot of ways. And you know what? I'm going to keep up as long as I have a breath in this earth to invest in this life. I'm going to keep stretching the parameters of possibility. How do you like that saying? The parameters of possibility. It's like, why not? Here we live in this world. When you look around this world, look at just go get a flower sometime. Last week I got a bunch of roses and I give one to my employees, each of my employees. We're going back to my radio show. Good evening, my friends. It's Robert Sidell. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight. And it's a miracle to talk to you in so many different ways. I just want you to know I'm honored, I'm privileged, and I'm challenging myself as much as I might be challenging you, maybe even more, challenging me more. The question is, how are we playing small? What is kind of our habitual state of awareness as we go navigate through the day? Is it just another old day, just another place, you know? And then we get stuck up in the stories we hear in the news about how bad it is, about anything and everything. I'm not trying to say that there aren't some bad things in the world. Certainly there are. We all know that. But the question is, how are you and I going to make the biggest difference? How are you and I going to make the biggest difference? By focusing and rolling in the mud? Or are you going to become a light to lift people out of the darkness? And that's what each one of us have to decide. The nice thing about it is I can't do that for you. I can't do that for you. The only person I can do it for is me. I can work on being courageous enough to access the miracle working dimension in my soul and then to share whatever I access with you. That's what I can do. And I can access that creative power through faith, through creativity, through practice. It takes practice. My book, The Gateway, has a lot of this laid out in it. If you don't have a copy of it, you really ought to get a copy. If you want to come by my office, I'll give you a free copy. So I can't make it any easier for you than that. It's also online. If you look Gateway and Sidell up on Amazon, you can get a copy of my book. So each of you that are listening right now, I want to challenge you to up your ante in life. I'll give you, here's an old story. It's even in my book. So imagine somebody went to the sea and went with a small measuring cup, thinking that the only thing they could take is whatever they could put into that measuring cup. So they could get a 1 cup of ocean water and take it away. Now suppose somebody else realized the whole sea is there for their use. What do you think is going to be the difference between the two people? The one person is holding a small cup and actually trying to hoard it even. You can't touch my salt water. You can't have my water. The other person says, have it. It's here. There's so much you can't even believe it. So my question is, are you and I willing to take life and live from that higher level, like the ocean? So I say, what is the highest state of awareness? Tonight I want to focus on, I think, the highest awareness, which is love, divine love. If you knew that within you there's an unspeakable love, a love beyond human comprehension, waiting for you to have the courage to summon it up, to lift it up out of you, and then begin to share it wherever you go. Can you imagine Bernie, Renee, Leroy, Andy, Janet, Lisa? Can you imagine if wherever you went, your eyes were sparkling with love? Your words were overflowing in love. And you started, I don't care what your business is, you're going to start to get a lot more successful. You're going to get to be a lot more successful. You know, I've been practicing law now for 48 years. Can you believe that? I can't believe it. You might be able to, but I can't. 48 years. I've been practicing law longer than most of my clients have been alive. That's how funny it is. Although I have a lot of clients that are older also. But if you want to know something, when people come in, I'm always reaching out on that edge and sharing love with them. I give my Expect a Miracle card to every person that comes in. Some people are going to say, well, why is this attorney giving me an Expect a Miracle card? So far, they don't seem to mind. So I guess that's the good news. But they like it, actually, because I get a lot of referrals. But the point I'm getting at is, if you show up in my life, guess what? There's an opportunity for you and I to share a spark of love, of joy, of happiness. And let's not waste that moment. You know, we don't know how many times we're going to see somebody or what's going to happen with somebody. We have no idea in our lives. So let's, you and I, up-level everything about our life tonight. Let's not delay at all. It's just so easy to get caught up in the drudgery of existence. And we all have some drudgery, don't get me wrong, and any of those moments can be frustrating or difficult sometimes for any of us, for anybody alive. In the Bible, Jesus says those are called tribulations. In the world, there are some tribulations. That's not a fancy word for sometimes there's things you got to deal with, have to be taken care of. You know, I like to tell my kids, life takes maintenance, and it does take maintenance. But the area that, you know, every part of our life, we have to feed ourselves properly, we have to sleep properly, we have to exercise. Those are just some of the different areas of our life. My friend Renee, I know she's lost a huge amount of weight just by maintenance. I guess it's maintenance, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but through consciousness and awareness. And Ernie, you know, he's 80 years old, and he just turned 80, and he still teaches school. He's maintaining his life, you know, and he's doing his thing. All of you are doing your thing. But you know what? Why don't we up-level the possibility? What if you and I could find something within ourselves that we didn't even know was possible? Isn't that kind of the adventure of life? I mean, think of all the things we can do today. I just climbed on a plane today from San Diego and flew up here. And you know what? I was celebrating my own brother's 80th birthday party with his family. And, you know, you couldn't have done that 50 years ago very easily. You know, things have become more affordable and easier. And you just climb on a plane and zoom. And you know what's funny, though? We actually took a little sailboat ride in the bay on a boat that was made in 1938, which really isn't that old, but it's still kind of old now because we're all getting older. But so we sailed all around the bay in a true wooden schooner. And I thought to myself, there was a time when the only way we could get around on the oceans was with sails. And the first sails were square riggers, and you could only sail in the direction pretty much of the wind or slight angles to the wind. Then they came up with some new ideas, and pretty soon they could figure out a way to trim sails. And I actually did a ton of sailing when I was a kid, and if you learn how, you could sail almost directly into the wind, which was a huge revolution in the thinking of humanity. And when they started to figure that out, it changed completely how sailing boats traveled through the oceans. One idea changed the possibility of how people traveled. And then, of course, came the steam engine, and everything changed after that. And pretty soon you had steamships going across the ocean and all these things. Hi, Sally. It's nice. Thank you so much for your nice words. Good to see you, too. So what I want to say to each one of you is, so we kind of learned there's this stuff called wind in sailboats, and if we learned how to trim the sails, we could actually get places we never thought we could get, right? Okay, that became very normal. And then we got even a better idea, I guess. Maybe it's better, maybe not. We could throw some coal into a boiler in a ship and run a steam engine. They could go across the ocean and use sails too, but mostly we're using the engine. And then they keep progressing and progressing beyond all that. Again, is it all good, bad? I don't know. Now we have these cruise ships, which, by the way, I've never been on one of these, but they're so big, they're like cities now. They're like cities. And I got to go on one day. I know some of you listening, I'm sure. I've been on some of those ships. One of these days, that'll be in my future. But so the point I'm getting at is we're one idea away from a better possibility all the time in our lives. So what I want to say to you is, what's the better idea for you and how you can set up your own awareness, your mindset, so that you can approach life in a way that's going to yield better outcomes in your life every day of existence? That's my challenge for you tonight. that there is a way to do that. And the way, and I say that the most powerful state of awareness for you to come into is love. And if you can realize that within you tonight, there's a state of love at this very moment, waiting to be accessed, waiting to be touched, that is there to, that is boundless like the ocean. So it's not just the one cup story. I just have a little bit of love, can't share much more. You know, I hug people all the time, but by the way, I found a diplomatic and I think okay way to do that. I do it with my clients usually. And what I simply say is, would you like a hug? And I think it's a good, you know what? I think it's a good idea because there are occasional people that are not, that's not their thing for whatever the reason may be. But 9 out of 10 people say, oh yeah, sure, I'd love that. And you know what? When you hug people and you're interacting with people too, guess what? I'm positive, your whole biochemistry, your whole body changes, your blood pressure goes down, your well-being goes up. And if you start doing that regularly, you're going to be healthier and happier. Your immune system is stimulated. Touch stimulates your immune system. So all of these things, these are just changes you can bring to the table of life. But it takes courage to be the initiator of that process. Maybe you're the initiator among your friends. And you can start that way. And you can do it in a nice way so it doesn't seem too strange. All right, my friends that are listening on the radio, we're going to go to a break. This is Robert Sidell's The Gateway Show. This is fun for me because I'm looking deep in my soul and saying, what higher story can I call forth? That's what I'm working on right this second. And so we're going to a break now. We'll be back in just a moment. For those of you on Facebook, stay with me. So Leroy says he has a minister friend who always asks him if he needs a hug. I think that's beautiful. I wouldn't even ask if you needed it. I'd just say, would you like one? People, I think everybody, with the rare exception of somebody who doesn't like touch, and I know 1 or 2 people that they're uncomfortable with touch from people they don't know very well. And that's okay. No big deal. But whoever you are right now, let's you and I decide how many days do you and I have left on Earth. We don't really know, do we? It's funny. It's easy to think we know. We kind of all think we kind of think we have an idea of how many days we have laid out. We may not know exactly, but we figure it's a while, right? But we really don't know, do we? We really don't know. So how long are you and I going to wait to start sharing this greater dimension of love? So right now while I'm talking to you, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I send you unconditional love from the heart and essence of my soul to you. And the love I'm sending you is not a love based on something you've done to make me happy, or unhappy. I mean, vice versa, or not made me unhappy. It's nothing based on that at all. God's not even in your physical presence. What I'm sending is love to you based on the very essence of my own awareness, given to me by God, sharing it with you. And I'm sharing that spark of love with you right now, wherever life happens to find you, whatever your story is. Could be the very best day of your life so far. And then I simply want to say, I add love to that. Could be, it's not an easy day for you. I've had more than one time person reach out to me and tell me they were listening to the show and they were actually in a suicidal state of mind, and somehow or another it turned their mind around. If it's happened multiple times to me. So most people are somewhere in between in that spectrum. But wherever you are, what I want to say to you is, I send you, and Sally's saying thank you, yes. And I accept that love. See, one of the fun things about Life Sally or Leroy or whoever's listening is that we have this magical ability to share consciousness. And you might say, well, how do I do that? Well, the funny thing about life as human beings, we are will-activated beings. If I lift up my hand and go put my fingers together or my hands together, I did it simply by willing that. That's all. Close my hands. But guess what? I can also will to send you love. I can send you love by simply willing it. You might say, well, how is it happening? The same way your hand closes, the same way any of it happens. Oh, I think we're about to go back on the air. Just about ready to go back on. Here we go. Good evening, my friends. This is Robert Sidell. Really a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. And sometimes messages come to me, and it just came to me real strongly today. I look at different people, different places. When you're walking through the airport, all these different places, what's the default state of mind of a lot of these people? It's funny. In the airport, the particular airport I was in was very crowded down there in San Diego. And I would tell you, default state of mind might be a bit frustrated and annoyed. And God bless all those people, every one of them. What I try to do when I walk along, believe it or not, and I just simply in my mind say, I don't yell it out loud, I simply say, I send you all unconditional love right now, wherever you are. And you can do things like that. You can have fun. It's like, what makes you think that God hasn't appointed you as an instrumentality of divine grace wherever you go? And I know some of you very well that are listening, and I know some of you are like that. And wherever you go, you're a light unto other people. It's funny. Hello, Janelle. She's our Barry Manilow girl. She works at the Barry Manilow show over at the Westgate. And I've gone there several times, and we're going to go again. My wife likes that show, and I do too, actually. I've got to say, Barry is an inspiration. He really, really is. He's like 83 now or something. And he jokingly says, I'm like 100 years old now. I remember last time I was there, he said that. But he's still doing his thing. And you know what? Who cares? Well, not only that, it's the opposite. Who cares? It's fantastic because he's actually literally employing bunches of people by his willingness to keep doing his thing. He's created a creative show, and he's got a lot of support people to help him out. And if you haven't seen the Barry Manilow show when he comes to town over the Westgate, 82. I'm so sorry. He's not as old as I said. He's only 82, according to Janelle. And when is his next show going to be, Jonelle? How often does he do these shows? I think he does them every few weeks, every month or so or something. But the very fact that guy's still hanging in there and doing his thing, people might say, well, what's an old guy like that doing that for? But you know what? Everybody has a good time. When I go to these shows, everybody's singing along with him and everything, and it's fun. So it's like, what are we worried about if you and I got out on the edge of love? Started getting a little crazy about it, right? I mean, I'll tell you something funny. It's funny. Oh, September 11th, 12th, and 13th. There you go. That's the next time he's going to be there, straight from my friend, Jonelle. At the Westgate Casino. Resort and Casino. Yes. So, that's right. If you want to see him, Westgate, Las Vegas Resort and Casino, September 11th, 12th, and 13th. And it's a fun show. You'll be happier when you leave. Really, I mean, that's... he's good at that. I mean, I actually think that's a real gift he has. So what can you do to make people happier where you go? You don't have to be Barry out on a stage, but you know what? There's something special you bring to the table. In my office, we're handling cases all the time. Injury cases. Get everything from very serious to fairly minor to very serious, all the way up, just very serious. So take my word for it. Manilow Magic, she's calling it. Yes, I like that. So, what we do in our office is we try to lift up our clients. And you'd be surprised. I'll tell you something fun, my friends. A lot of the people come to my office and they say, why is it we feel happy here? Why does it feel good here? Well, I'll tell you why it feels good. First of all, I've done lots and lots of prayer meetings there. And so the vibe has gotten there. And plus, if you come into my personal office, I have 40 plants and a full-size tree in there. And so they're all radiating back and forth a lot of happiness and joy, and on some level or another, and it's fun. It's fun. Somebody comes to me, we're going to turn it into some kind of fun, even if it started as a bad experience. We're going to put a smile on your face, because you know what? Life is too short not to have that happen. Now, sometimes the people have very, very severe losses, and one of my very nice clients lost one of her children in an accident earlier this year, and, or actually late last year. And that's a terrible, terrible, terrible loss. And so I've worked with her quite a bit spiritually on that particular case, and I've offered to take her to a grief group, because you know why? There's a grief group at the church I go to, and I went when my own dad died, and I got a lot out of it, and those kinds, so that we can help people when they come to us. We try to meet people where they are in awareness, whatever is going on with them. You know what else I can do with clients? This is kind of fun for me. This is my kind of fun. I pray with my clients. You'd be surprised. I think last time I was in the office, I prayed with three different people that day. And even salespeople come in and talk to me, and they say, this is my favorite office of all the offices I go to. And they can see all the different offices around town. And I say, why? And they say, it's happy here. It's up. Oops, gotta get that on there. So the bottom line is, what we can do. So when they're talking like that, I said, well, you want to say a prayer together before you go? And so say, sure, let's do that. Now, mind you, not everybody wants to do that, and I don't put it on anybody. But if somebody mentions, or they go to church or belong to some sort of faith, I'll ask them if they want to pray. You know what? It's one of the easiest ways, by the way, in my universe, to raise people's vibration, is to pray. And because it's something we can do with each other, and it lifts our frequency up. But whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, when we're doing this show together, believe it or not, what we're doing is lifting each other's frequency up. So we are, because we're touching on that soul part of our consciousness, which is beyond the mind. It's the divine self, for lack of a better way to call it. So wherever you are, whoever is listening right now, right this second, or later on in the recording, because God is beyond all time. I've tested this out a lot of times. But if you're listening right now, what I want you to do, let's just for 15 or 30 seconds, I'm just going to say, I'm going to do a little love exercise again. Right this second, from the depth of my heart, my mind, and my soul, I send you love right now, so it might enfold you, much the way a shower might enfold you, a warm shower. Just kind of an embracing, loving feeling, a love that is given without any expectation. There's no payment required, nothing back required. There's nothing conditional about it. You don't have to act a certain way, dress a certain way, anything. Right now, I send that love to you, heart to heart, soul to soul, consciousness to consciousness, as one divine being to another divine being on a divine journey. I let the very grace that dwells in our heart, the very center of our soul, touch that grace in your heart. The grace that touches you beyond your personality, beyond your story, beyond the history you've generated right now, beyond time, beyond space. I send you love right to the heart of your soul, and I receive it from you in that same place. And if you're listening and you feel so guided, try to send that out to everybody listening too. Just reach in your heart and say, I'm sending out love too. I'm sending out grace too. And I've got to do it again, I'm afraid. I've taught seminars for years, and I used to have people, we do a circle and put people in the middle of the circle and just pour love on them. And boy, people love that experience. There's nothing quite like that. It is like pure heaven. Nobody wants that to end. But so what I want you to do is I want you right now just to imagine you are surrounded by love right now. Not imagine, to feel you are surrounded by love right now. We are connecting on love on a soul-to-soul level right now. And I want you to think to yourself and be aware that this love does not require... The nice thing, think about this. How many times does this happen in your life? Nothing required of you. You don't have to... You're a woman, you don't have to put on your makeup. If you're a man, you don't have to shave. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to put on your special clothes. You don't have to prepare a meal. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is be willing to accept unconditional love right now in your heart, mind, and soul. And just let that love just pour through you. And if you feel so guided, I'm open to receive whatever you want to send to. And that's, yes, as I say that, believe it or not, I'm very sensitive to these things. I feel just a tremendous kind of love from each one of you. If you knew what I felt, you'd be shocked. So just let that love pour over you right now. And let that love, and let the love flow out of you right now to everyone, everywhere. And just feel your body radiating with love from your toes, up your legs, up your back, up your shoulders, up your head, out your head, all around you, enfolding you, your throat. Just feel divine love all around you right now. All around you. It feels so good to me. Trust me, I could just keep doing this for a long time. But just love all around you right now. Nothing to earn, nothing to do for it, just to accept. You are beloved by the infinite, eternal Spirit of God, who loved you before you were born, and loved you till this very moment, and loves you right now, and will always love you to the last day on this earth and thereafter. Let that love just embrace you right now, a new dimension of grace and healing as we speak right now. And we're going to go to a break for those on the radio, and then when we come back, we'll have Reverend Ernie here with us, and I think we might have Reverend Janet here too, and we'll soon find out in a couple of minutes. But wherever you are, I'm going to keep doing our love exercise here for a minute, because it feels too good to stop it. So deep love from the depth of my consciousness to the depth of your consciousness. Loving you, not tied to the way your form looks. Your hair doesn't have to be fixed a certain way. You don't have to have just a certain kind of smile on your face. You don't have to be a certain weight. You don't have to do anything except accept. Love. Now, I am the eternal presence of love. Right now, I am the eternal I am presence. Flowing in you, through you, for you, as you. Awakening to you an entirely new possibility of life. A new possibility of love, of grace. Let's see something. I gotta do this right. Right now, where you are. Pure love for you. Pure grace for you. Right now. Breathe it into your body, into your mind, into your spirit. Touch that magical part of yourself that maybe you didn't even know existed. That infinite love that is boundless, that is eternal, that is everlasting. Infinite grace, infinite healing, infinite joy. Washing over you as we speak. Effortlessly, magically, wonderfully, lifting you up, healing you in mind, spirit, and body. Mind, spirit, and body. Healing you right now in mind, spirit, and body. Allow that love this week. I want this love to go with you this week. A seed planted that will bear fruit. Jesus talked about the seed that is smaller than a mustard seed. If you and I get that spark of love in us, that can be like that mustard seed of love that can grow to become a giant tree of grace and healing. Right now, wherever you are, whoever you are, healing, empowering, lifting you right now. on a second here. Just double checking something here. So whatever is going on in your life right now, let love cover you right now. Enjoy. Let love lift you up. Enjoy. Let love give you peace. Enjoy. Let love heal your adversities, your setbacks. Oh, there's Ernie. Hey, Ernie, how you doing? Can you hear me, Ernie?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So great love. I'm just having fun, my friends. So you listening to me. Love, love, love. Make that your default this week. And share it wherever you go, that love, grace, that healing, that joy. Wherever you are, whoever you are. All right, my friends, we're back on the radio here. Good evening. Oh, good. There's Janet. This is Robert Sidell, the Gateway Show. I'm back on. That, you know what? I have to tell you, doing that love. I got to do that every week. I've got to do that every week. That exercise we just did, I'll call it exercise, of just sharing love to love, heart to heart. That felt so good to me. You wouldn't even believe it. And it still does. I'm still basking in that love. That's what we can do in this world. Let's be bestowers of love wherever we go. All right, my friends. I've got the amazing Ernie and amazing Janet on the radio here tonight. On the radio and on Facebook. Yeah, both of you. The amazing and Ernie, I say he was with us last week too. Just you had an amazing trip, didn't you, Ernie?
Yes, I did. Yes.
And traveled over in Bulgaria and Central Europe and traveled all around over there,
That's
right?
right. Hungary and Austria, Hungary, and Bulgaria. That's correct.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. That could have never happened 50 years ago, you know? You could just go over to Europe for a while. That was a couple hundred years ago, that was a once in a lifetime journey on a boat that you had a good chance you'd die on before you got to the new world. You know what I'm saying? That you never could have gone back and forth like that. And the people were dying of scurvy and all these different things. And so, no, it's just an amazing, miraculous world we're in. And Janet, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
You look pretty as usual.
Thanks.
Both of you look in great shape. Ernie, congratulations. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Grand 80 years of age.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
Thank you,
amazing.
Robert. Yes. Wonderful to turn 80. That's great. Wonderful.
So I'm going to turn over your prayer in 1 second, but before I do that, any great insights at age 80 that you want to share with us? You have any words of wisdom about age 80?
Well, it's a learning experience. We all learn on this earth, in this life, and I'm so happy that I've learned, still learning, 80 and going forward. Yes, we all learners, and learn to become more happy in our life, regardless of the circumstances that surround us, and God within us. Which I truly believe that the God's blessings and God within us. Every human being has God within them. That's my philosophy. Everyone.
Well, that's kind of what I heard. I think you probably heard what I was talking about. That love within, that's God within us, isn't it?
Yes,
that's God
that's
within
right.
us. And what we learned, if we want to share that, we have to learn to touch that with courage and say, I'm bringing love to the world. God, I don't care what the world was given to me. I'm giving love, right? That's what we're talking about.
That's right. Yes.
All right. Why don't you share your prayer with us? I don't want to run out of time.
All right. Thank you, Robert. The topic of the prayer is change your default to love and happiness. Dear Lord, we give gratitude and thanks for this blessed day and for this miraculous life. We pray that we open our hearts to believe in the infinite love and the divine spirit in each one of us. We have complete trust and faith in God to bring love and happiness in our daily lives. Lord, Guide us to be in awareness, to acknowledge our walk through life by trusting great divine spirit within, and which in turn change our default to love and happiness. We pray for each one of us that everyone in this world will experience creating heaven on earth. And so it is. Amen.
That's so beautiful, Ernie. I always love your prayers. You give great. When you were gone, we missed your prayers, so it's nice to have you back doing them. And
Thank you.
God hears our prayers. I truly believe prayer is one of our most powerful resources, and we should all use it. It doesn't cost anything, and it can make such a
That's
difference.
right.
All right, my dear friend Janet. And by the way, Ernie and Janet are two wonderful friends to me. What a great gift to have great friends. There's no better treasure on earth. There really isn't. But
No, happy belated birthday, Ernie.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Janet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, so you talk about the love, but then there's ways that we can send the love out, right? Like in
Sure.
our mind, but there's other ways. So that's why I'm going to read what was in the Daily Word yesterday. Okay.
All right.
Divine light shines from within me. So we can do it with our light, the light of who we are. Okay. In the past, I may have hidden my gifts, afraid to call attention to myself, reluctant to shine too brightly. The divine light within me does shine brightly. It would not be there if I was supposed to hide it. This awareness prompts me to leave my comfort zone and express myself, to share my talents and gifts without hesitation, because I realize they are my way of expressing the divine within me as only I can, which is divine love. I'm adding that part. Likewise, I celebrate the light within others as they share their talents and gifts with the world. Lights are meant to shine. As more and more people feel free to express who they are and do what they love, the world will glow with their light. Amen.
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 You both share a very beautiful message, each a slightly different perspective, which is beautiful. So we are almost out of time. So let me just say this. I'll share a short prayer. Heavenly Father, Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, we bow before thy infinity and eternality and pray that thy infinite love might be stirred in the hearts of mankind and womankind, or the whole human race, all over this world, wherever people are, beyond their tradition or faith. Let your love become so strong that we cannot deny it anymore, God. And let us each grow and become what you want us to be, so we fulfill our destiny on this earth according to your plan and will. I pray for each person listening, any adversity you're struggling with, may God lift you up and carry you through it. May the doors open that need to open, may the doors close that need to close, and may you be guided forth into a magical, wondrous, miraculous future. So I just want you to know it's a great pleasure to be here with you tonight. I'm really charged up with love myself because of your grace, each one of you listening. And I'm going to go into this week sharing more love than usual because of each of you. So I pray that God watch over all of you. And let's all remember, God is real. Because God is real, miracles are real. And because miracles are real, the best is yet to come. So let's dare to trust. Take a stand. The best is yet to come. God bless. It's Robert Sidell, wishing you all the best. Until next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All
Take care.